Hi, I'm Dr. Doug Weiss, and welcome to our YouTube channel. Now listen, we are talking about something so big and so important that at least 30 or more % of the women you know need to watch this. So I want you to share this one. This is a big topic. This is sexual abuse of women. So many women, I've been counseling women for over 35 years, have been sexually abused, and yet they never talk about it. They don't know what to do about it, how to heal about it. I have a guest today who's going to introduce something that can intelligently help women take the next step to their own personal journey of healing. So if you're a man, you know a woman who's been through this. If you're a woman, you know a woman who's been through this. So please watch the entire segment and then share it with them and let them know you care, let them know you love them. Now, if you have yet to subscribe to our channel, and we have hundreds of videos that can help your life, please hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified when new things come out and they can change your life. Now, if you have a question for me or my guest, please send that to me. We'll be happy to. It's in the little box below the screen. Send it to us. We'll get to you as soon as we can. And we'll be right back to talk about sexual abuse in the church and what to do. My guest is a friend of mine for many years, Pastor James Reeves. Thank you for coming and joining us on our little YouTube channel here.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Now, we've known each other for a long time. Tell me what you're up to in this particular genre of what's going on.
Well, about the time that you and I actually met, which was through the Conquer series for men, things began to kind of happen for me that had never happened before. I got into a project after I had the opportunity to start traveling around the country after my book Refuge was published. And then shortly after that was when I became a part of the Conquer series with you, and that's when we got to know each other. And then over the course of time, I began to get churches that were asking me to come and teach about what does a hospital church look like?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's what we're known as.
And that's a great thing.
In 1992, we transitioned from a fairly traditional, church in some ways to really believing that the church needs to be a place where people can be honest and be transparent. Yes. And then the church have help for them. And so I began going around the country teaching churches how that could happen. And I noticed that a lot of the churches that I was in were doing ministry to men in the area of pornography and sexual addiction, and sexual brokenness, because of the Conquer series and that kind of thing. But in all of those years, I never came across a single church that was actually strategically ministering to women in their church who were survivors of sexual abuse.
And it's huge.
It's huge. And I knew how huge it was simply because we have been doing that for 30 years. In fact, one of the first women that came into our church 30 years ago to begin the process of healing from our sexual abuse is now on my staff and has been for 10 years. Because I realized the need to have a key woman point person for that, and someone who was a practitioner, but also now was able to help. And so I knew at least 1 in 3 of those women, let's say, typically, by the time they're 18 years old, will have experienced some form of overt invasion, unwanted. Absolutely. And so, I was grousing about that one day with a couple of the pastors on my staff, one of them that Brian. And they said, well, James, what's the answer? And I said, well, women need a tool, like the Conquer series was for men. It got the conversation started. And I said, there's no tool like that out there. And I said, it just really frustrates me. And they said, well, why don't you create one? And I went, well, I'm a biblicist, but I don't know anything about filmmaking. But I said, by darn, I'm going to do it.
Awesome.
So I went to my elder body the very next Monday night, and I told them the need, and I told them my passion, that something happened with this. They gave me a huge budget, tens of thousands of dollars to do this project.
Wow.
I hired a young filmmaker because I knew that the quality of the production had to be good.
Yes, absolutely.
For people to receive the information. I knew some women around the country that were survivors and now were in the work. Shannon Etheridge was one of them, who's become a dear friend of mine, author of Every Woman's Battle. And Shannon said, yeah, I want to be a part of it. Marnie Farid, whom I interviewed in your office, as a matter of fact, a couple of years ago. And we just started going around the country interviewing these women that had 3 qualities. First of all, they themselves were survivors. They had done the hard work of help, hope, and healing, so they could speak from that practitioner.
Absolutely.
This is what it looks like. And now they were professionals in some field, of some area of working with survivors. So they could speak from the full range.
Amen.
We started putting the thing together, and Lo and behold, it took about 3 years to
Wow.
put this thing together through the editing process, which, as you know, is sometimes the hardest part of the whole deal.
Absolutely.
And it came out, the Fearless series for women.
Fearless series.
Yeah.
Now, what makes you so passionate about this? Because I know you, and this is like, you're on fire for this.
I am. This has taken over. I'm 67 years old, so I started on this project when I was 64, I guess. And I'm the founding pastor of City on a Hill, the church that I'm now with. I turned over the senior pastor role to my young man that I've raised up about 6 months ago, so that I could spend the rest of my life promoting the Fearless series for women. I am now only the teaching pastor of the church. I'm responsible for Sunday morning, and the elders have turned me loose to go wherever I can to promote this. And so, yeah, it has become a passion.
That's awesome.
It's always been a passion. I've always been an advocate for women.
Yeah, me too.
And for 40 years, and anybody that ever knew me knew that was true. I told a story not long ago about how kind of where the seed of that was born. Because my dad was an alcoholic, really a brown bag wine. He died when he was 41 of alcoholism. Wow. I was 18. And I'd only known Christ for 6 months, and I did my father's funeral.
Wow.
But he was not only an alcoholic, he was extremely abusive to my mother. So I can remember as a 5 or 6 year old little boy standing between him and my mom with my fist doubled up, ready to take him on. He never one time hit me. I'm thankful to God for that. But I think that seed was planted then to be an advocate for women.
Yeah, and they do have work. Tell me, a woman watching here, maybe, I want her to get the Fearless series, and at the end, we're going to give them the information because I want them to get that.
Right.
Okay, I really do. That's why I'm having you on this. Okay.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I want them. I want women to be healed and set free. I'm a survivor of sexual abuse. I've worked with women and men who've been sexually abused for over 35 years. I get this. This is a heart issue for both of us. So tell me about the Fearless series. Okay, she orders it. What is she going to get? What's going to help her?
Okay. Well, it's designed, and there are some women who are doing this on their own because they're not in a place where they have a church that's willing to engage this process. But I actually designed it to be implemented in a local church.
Good.
I've pastored churches for 40 years.
Yeah.
So my heart is in the local church. And I believe the answer really is in the local church.
Sure. No, community is awesome.
Because we already have that in place. There are so many things that the local church has. The missing piece of the puzzle is their willingness to enter into this kind of work. But when they do, as we have for 30 years, we see tremendous impact of doing this within the context of a local body of believers. And so I designed it to be used in a church, not as an individual. And the way it's designed, there's 3 parts to it. First of all, there's 5 videos. They're about 25 to 30 minutes long, each one. And so women will gather and they will watch, say, the first week of video. And they have a study guide to do some stuff before that. And then they enter into about an hour of small group after that.
That's awesome.
Okay? And so they do that for 5 weeks. And I designed it where it could be a safe, open door for all women in the church to come and participate. Because you don't have to raise your hand and say, yes, I've been sexually abused and I need help. Many women are not going to probably do that in the context of the church initially. So it's all women. All women come. And in the context of that small group, that's where the magic happens. Because as you know, after watching these women, gathering in that safe place with women, they'll start telling their story.
Oh, yeah, they do.
So after that 5 weeks, those that have talked about their sexual abuse, then they can go into a small group that's designed only for survivors.